Welcome back, guys, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Black Circle podcast. And today I am joined by Nyle Mcintosh. Welcome.
Thank you, Zoe. How are you today?
I'm good today, yes, and you?
I'm well. Came up from Brombo, yeah.
You did, and I'm so grateful for coming all the way down to London. I really appreciate it. We're going to have a good conversation today.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. So let's kind of jump into everything.
Yeah.
And so you'll describe Black Things UK as a media company that embraces culture through visual content. Yeah. So what inspired you to create the platform?
Yeah, good question. I get asked it a lot. So yeah, Black Things UK was founded in summer of 2020. Mm-hmm. I thought as a young person something at the time had to be done to create change, as there's a lot of tensions, a lot of social unrest taking place. So I literally opened an additional account on Instagram titled it Black Things UK, and I was promoting Black-owned businesses for free within the UK, and I was celebrating the culture internationally. Mm-hmm. Obviously, in the earliest stages, I was doing quite a few different things. I arranged for free school meals to be sorted out within different cities, so London, Ipswich, and Birmingham. And then second time around with a Caribbean takeaway called Brando's, offering a 10% discount. Obviously, it was a small initiative, but I'm sure people benefited from it. Off the back of that, I connected with one of my good friends now. Her name is Lamaya Sheree. Mm-hmm. So she does some work in the All Parliamentary Group, and we kind of worked on a few initiatives around hair discrimination, things of that nature. But I'd say the big turning point with Black Things UK and the early point was when I was heavily focusing on when people from the Black community were missing, as obviously the mainstream media kind of weren't really kind of covering the way they probably should have been doing. And there was a case in particular that a young man named Richard Okorogay was involved. I believe they had sickle cell anemia. He went missing in Epping Forest. A few of the mainstream media companies were covering it, but I know a lot of people don't really watch the news, so I was doing my part to kind of cover it the best way I could, if that makes sense, but as well as trying to make sure it was respectful for the family and obviously everyone involved. Obviously, off the back of that, that's something I kind of still do now. I've had meetings with individuals from, I think, a platform called Missing Black People. His name's Dominic. And just means on how to kind of identify where it's a cry for help and when something generally is going on. Yeah. Because sometimes people, the child is missing, but sometimes family members don't really want to push that to the mainstream public because they know it's a cry for help. And it's just kind of identifying those sort of things, really. So that's kind of where it spurred from. It was mainly kind of helping people. And funny enough, my grandmother was a nurse, so maybe that kind of spurred from there, really. So yeah, in short, that's kind of where Black Things UK was birthed and where it is now, really. So, yeah.
It's definitely sounds like you have the spirit of an activist in you, you know. And it's important that we kind of like pick up on what you said about kind of the platform of missing children. And I know that we have to keep the empathy going, but especially keeping that empathy for Black children is so important. So creating, you know, the platforms that you do is really important work.
Absolutely, I have to agree with that point there. There's so much more that comes into it other than just counting lines. I think sometimes, you know, it's a situation at home, situation at school. And I feel it's for the young people to actually feel they can actually talk to another person. Sometimes some people aren't actually willing to talk to the parents. So again, that's where mentorship comes into play. Obviously, I've been lucky enough to kind of connect with people that are older than me within this industry that offer me advice, personal and business, and you know, within the industry as well. So yeah,
absolutely. And I know at the top of your intro we said that, you know, the platform was all about embracing the culture. So how do you maintain promoting positive and educational content in today's media landscape, because it is a bit of a hellscape out there?
That's a good question. I think for me, with what we do is making sure some people can look at the platform, feel inspired, feel educate, learning something, and also ensuring that people, for example, if they're having a bad day at work, you know, I'll call Black Things UK, you know, they've got some positive content, I can go about my day and feel uplifted. I've seen tweets of that, you know, people act and stay the same in that. So in terms of how do I align with the current media landscape and ensure it's positive, I feel it's time the narrative changes. I feel it's time the narrative changes around the Black community and obviously people that work in certain sectors, certain demographics. And that's kind of a reason why Black Things UK is kind of where it is at, because the main focus of it all is to ensure it's positive. Obviously, like I said, sometimes we have to cover the negative things where people go missing, whether it's topics within our community that we need to discuss, whether it's mental health, whether it's sickle cell anemia, whether it be other conditions such as multiple sclerosis. The main core of it all is for positivity.
Absolutely. And, you know, for me personally, when I look at the page and your platforms, it's the opposite, and I won't name I won't name them, but it's definitely the opposite of certain pages that exist out there. So it's like really refreshing to have that break on the timeline. Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Black Things UK has amassed like a significant following on Instagram and TikTok, and I think we're at 213k on Instagram and 316k on TikTok followers. So what do you think resonates most with the audience and fuels this growth?
Yeah, I feel a lot of it is relatability. People can look at the company or look at the socials and know they can relate, whether it be food, whether it be music, whether it be their Independence Day. And I feel that the thing that kind of spikes the growth is relatability, and obviously the fact it's positive content, you know, because let's face it, 2024 things aren't the best right now within the country, within globally. So I feel relatability is what has spiked the growth, and I feel we try our best to spotlight those who deserve their flowers. Obviously everyone deserves their flowers, but it's about spotlighting those who you may not really realize are actually doing big things, like yourself, and individuals like that, really. So yeah, I think that's the key factor in what kind of has spiked the growth. Obviously, No, I was going to say, so let's talk kind of like the technical side of stuff, because yes, there's you know, the content that you're producing, but then there's also things like the SEO and like your marketing. So for people who want to grow their platforms, what kind of advice would you give on that side of things? It's about building a community, really. It's about building a community. So if you're doing beauty, if you're doing cooking, if you're a content creator, it's about understanding your audience, really and truly. That's what it really is about. Because the moment you understand your audience, you can add value to your audience. And when you add value to your audience, you can add value to pocket and things of that nature, really. So that's what I kind of advise and inspire. I kind of fell into this. So I was very much learning on the go. Yeah. So SEO and certain hashtags to use, certain hashtags not to use. All of that stuff I was learning. Obviously, I don't really use hashtags on Instagram. Obviously, TikTok, you know, hashtags is key. It gets it to the For You page and all that sort of stuff. So that's my advice. Understand your community. Understanding what you're trying to build, remain authentic and remain, you know, true to it. Because again, a lot of people kind of start businesses or start social media stuff just for short-term gain. But really and truly, when it comes to it and you're traveling back and forth all over the country, you've got to have that desire and have that hunger to make sure you actually want to do it, because ultimately your name's on it, your face attached to it, really. So absolutely.
And actually it's important that what you just said about kind of not using hashtags on Instagrams and using them on TikTok. And I only realized that kind of recently, I'm embarrassed to say, but TikTok, Instagram not discouraged, but they don't tell you it's useless.
I think everyone's different. I've seen pages, seen companies use them. I personally kind of not really use them. In the beginning I was finding using them, but I kind of realised that to some degree the traction was slowing down. But in terms of building your own brand, for the company, your own company, hashtags can help, because if you search obviously your company name, the hashtag will 9 out of 10 come up. But it goes hand in hand, really. Only you personally will know what's best for your company, and your social media platform, really. So and also another one with Instagram as well, that they I think they change the rules daily almost. But it's using music that also boosts your visibility. Absolutely. Do you find that's been the case? Absolutely. So there've been several pieces of content that we've worked on. Around city splash times, around carnival, where obviously we're using key, you know, music that people can relate to. So I find that absolutely helps a lot. But sometimes it is tricky, because certain music you want to find, you can't find it on there. But you know, you just have to use what's available, really. So,
exactly that. And so for everybody who's kind of listening and watching today, obviously you have a little bit of an accent, from accent. So as a Midlands-based entrepreneur, what do you think the regional Black community needs most in terms of media representation?
It's a good question. Obviously I'm not a spokesperson for Birmingham or outside of London, but from what I have been advised and what I can see, a lot of it is a consistency in opportunities. Obviously there's so much talent in Birmingham, so much talent outside of Birmingham. Black country, when I say Black country, I mean West Brom.
Yes.
And I say up north, Manchester, Liverpool. There's so much talent. I think it's just the consistency in the opportunities and not it just be a one-off. Obviously, I think there's talk of a specific brand coming to Birmingham. I think it may be Box Park, I could be wrong. So I think the thing of when events are there, it's for brands to obviously, you know, use the content creators from Birmingham, not supposed to get people from London.
Right.
Obviously, again, this is from what I've seen and from what I advise. I'm not, you know, gospel on this.
I
don't be held accountable. So that is kind of what I kind of would feel. I see people would ask, like, so what are you doing? For our first media line opportunity, I believe we took somebody from Birmingham. Her name was Cassandra. A junkie, like media junkie, we sitting down in front of the talent. Somebody called Talisha, another individual called Rakeem Omar. So we are trying to do our best on what we can in Birmingham. And people, please forgive me if I forgot anybody else. But yeah, man, there's people in Birmingham doing what they can do
Yeah.
to make sure Birmingham's on the map. Obviously, there's so many people I don't want to name people because then we may feel a bit left out, man. But yeah, there's people doing their thing.
Yeah. We're so kind of London-centric, aren't we, when it comes to kind of like the creative industry that we kind of... And like you said, there's so much talent that exists outside of London that really does deserve the spotlight. So kind of like I want to kind of dig into your background, I guess. So before Black Things UK... what was you doing? Was there any mentors in your life, or kind of what was the landscape for you?
That's a good question. So I was at uni doing sports science, strength conditioning sport. So I'm still into my sports as such. But again, it very much fell into this. So this wasn't planned. Yeah. It just happened.
The best things are unplanned sometimes.
You know what I mean? So for me, I'm a Christian, so it's a good fun guided. But I think for me, that was my landscape. I was looking to kind of probably eventually finish my degree and go into probably a professional sporting environment, doing S&C, strength and conditioning, and potentially sports analysis, really. So, yeah, that landscape's totally changed, really. So, yeah.
And do you have any mentors or... Yeah, because I talk about tribe and village a lot here. So it's good to kind of get a picture of, like, who your support network is.
Yeah, there's quite a few, really. I'd go as far as to say Lamaya Sharif probably mentors me to some degree. There's countless people that I've mentored and probably helped build Black Things UK. So, you know, as I say, it takes a village to build a child.
Yeah.
There's people who've been involved with Black Things UK that have helped with their time and obviously repaid with finance or even, for example, opportunities, whether it be content creators where, for example, there's no budget available, but instead of me taking the tickets to the event, you go enjoy yourself with a friend. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question about mentoring people behind the scenes, obviously family as well. Grandparents, you know what I'm saying? And other people as well. So
that's fantastic. And I always like to put the emphasis on there for anyone who's kind of listening or watching, just to see the value in mentorship and also being a mentor to others as well, and just kind of sharing those kind of tools. So you've been part of panels like Africa 21 Fashion Week. So how have these experiences shaped your perspective on the future of Black creatives and business?
Good question. So when I was on the panel for Africa Fashion Week 2021, obviously it was a rewarding opportunity. Obviously I could kind of see where the landscape was going, because the panel was around journalism with the black media space. So it enabled me to kind of see what the potential of the company Black Things UK was, and how far the media landscape has came within the Black community and just in general, really. In terms of businesses, obviously, there's Black businesses internationally. Obviously, with fashion, there's a lot of Black-owned clothing brands, Black-owned everything, really. So in terms of business aspect, we've got a bright future. Again, it's just about providing these businesses the right infrastructure, the right financial reward, and on top of that, the right mentorship, you know, because a lot of businesses get given the funding, get given the cash injection, and unfortunately not all of them, you know, reach the other end because it's too much. It's too much
or mismanagement, or just like no financial literacy. So these things have a real impact.
Yeah, I think at that point there, financial literacy is something that needs to be discussed within the Black community. Again, we could go from the celebs to the footballers to the young people who you may get their first record label deal, or may even, you know, get lucky on a scratch card. Instead of just blowing it on some trainers and that, probably look at what can be done 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and really look at that generational wealth and ensuring the next generation are protected and looked after. So,
100%. No, I agree with that. So how do you see Black Things UK continuing to evolve and contribute to social change?
Good question. So in terms of how can I see Black Things UK evolving, so obviously again I'll give a brief insight into next year. What I'm hoping to kind of do is make it a bit more of a well-rounded organisational media platform. Look at research papers, look at having the conversation that needs to be had within the community around mental health, around those conversations around sickle cell, obviously conditions like I've mentioned, multiple sclerosis, also around ensuring Black women have a voice, feel that they're heard, and conversations around obviously domestic violence, ensuring those sort of sensitive topics are discussed in a sensitive way, but are discussed in the right way where people could feel things are happening and things are moving forward, because there's so much going on in the world at the moment. I feel a lot of these topics kind of, I wouldn't say get brushed over, but they're not really dug upon enough with a fine-tooth comb. And unfortunately, it'll take probably the generation after me for them to actually get diluted and things actually sorted, if that makes sense. So for me, that's kind of where in the landscape and where things I want to go with Black Things UK. I hope I've answered the question there.
You have, absolutely. And, you know, I personally kind of like love to see, is there any scope or room for events or panels and that type of thing?
In terms of events, absolutely. Obviously, I've been to quite a few events this year. festivals. And I know from people I talk to, so I talk to quite closely, Black East London, Jackson, I know the work goes behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So for me, it would never be something on that level. Who knows, may change. But it'll probably be intimate events, events in which people can feel they can open up, share their own personal experiences, discuss things and feel comfortable. Panels, yeah, definitely look at probably arranging panels and things where people can, again, add value and learn for. Because, again, I've been to different events and different panels where it's like, I'm not really getting anything from this.
Yes.
However, somebody else in the room may.
Yeah.
So it's trying to make sure the panels are of value to everyone in the room, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. And so again, you highlight a lot of different businesses and content creators. So how do you select the businesses and brands you promote on your platforms? And what impact do you hope to have on their growth?
Good question. Yeah, so with the brands and businesses that we obviously promote, a lot of them contact ourselves. And also there's a vetting process where they submit their details. We look at what they're doing. We look at how we can try and help them in the best way. Obviously, some businesses aren't really in the place at the moment to have promotion. So if I have time, I would try and verbally say, look, this is what you can do. However, I can't really offer you anything more right now. In terms of promotional side of things, some would say our promotional services, we don't charge enough. But then again, they have to remember Black-owned businesses aren't blessed with equity.
Right.
They have to work. You know what I mean? A lot of people are still managing 9 to 5 while still managing their business. Some they may say, why are you charging Black-owned businesses if you know that the time that goes in behind the scenes to ensure the platform's at a point for people to be able to get the engagement that needed to feel some sort of value is received or added to their product when it's being promoted. That the swings and roundabouts really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I'd hope in terms of what value you hope to add. Again, sales, again, engagement, again, eyes. Because just because someone doesn't necessarily follow or like the post or story, it doesn't mean anyone's not really spotting or looking at
absolutely
your
not.
product.
Yeah.
So even with myself, again, with the company, you never know who's watching. Like, there's people that follow the platform who I may not even know what they do, but I know they're watching. So
absolutely. And
you can't really find
you've got eyes all over.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. The views,
absolutely.
It will, definitely, 100%. In your opinion, what roles does the media and content creation play in shaping the narrative of Black communities, and how can more creators contribute positively? Yeah,
good question. So in terms of the way the media and also content creation change the narrative, I feel they go hand in hand, really. If you look at the news, if you look at anything these days, it has content creation involved. Maybe not be a big caption, maybe not someone with some titles over it, but it's edited in a way where it can go on TikTok and perform, it can go on Instagram and perform. So I believe they go hand in hand. In terms of how it can be done positively with Black content creators, I feel, we've all seen what the power of social media can do.
Yeah.
We all know there's a social trail. So I feel it's for content creators to sit and kind of really sit and think, will what I'm posting right now affect my brand in 5 years' time? Will what I'm posting right now prevent me from potentially getting a 9 to 5 in 5 years' time should the content creation or what I'm doing not work out? And I feel, again, that would kind of be linked into the mentorship that I feel a lot of people may need. Obviously, I mentor a social media manager. She's kind of the start of what she's doing. She's already identified some issues which she's facing.
Right.
So I feel there's a lot that's going on. Again, there's so many different talent agencies. I'm sure a lot of them do mentor and advise them on what needs to be posted. Some of them may not. So again, there's a public conversation for that as well.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to emerging content creators and entrepreneurs who are trying to build a platform with a purpose?
Yeah, good question. I feel you've got to have the hunger for it.
Yeah.
You've got to have the desire for it. You've got to want to do it.
Yeah.
Again, obviously, I fell into this, and I'm sure that there's countless platforms that fell into what they're doing. Black Mind State is a platform. The Nubian Girls is a platform where they fell into what they do. And Black Unity Bike Ride, Black East London, there's countless...
This podcast, to be honest,
this podcast, there's countless sort of platforms or companies that have fell into what they're doing, but there is a burning fire and desire for what they're doing, and that's kind of why they're where they're at now. So for any advice, is you just got to kind of want to do it. You've got to fight through them dark days.
Oh, yes.
You've got to learn your trade, and I think as well, you've got to learn company's house, so from company's house, you've got to learn trademark.
Yeah.
You've got to learn about accountants. And fundamentally, you've got to have the right support system around you. Even if it's just a friend, somebody you can rely on, run ideas on, and I feel it's just, again, ensuring that you have a good understanding of the power of social media. So, you maybe, have a tweet that's on your Twitter account or X account as is now, that could come back to haunt you.
Oh, yes.
So it's doing all that training, really. So,
yeah. It's definitely kind of like a baptism of fire for anyone who wants to start a business. And I know that we always say that it looks very glamorous, but the unsaid and the unsung parts are very much like the hard work, the hours that go beyond a 9 to 5, and then again, like you're saying, you have to be media savvy these days. You can't just kind of like have a business acumen because everything kind of business is really driven through these digital platforms now.
Absolutely, man. Like I left my 9 to 5 about 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's about managing that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
So thank you. So imagine those times where I was finishing work at 5.
Yeah.
Flying to London for 7. Being at the event till 11, come back the next day at 9.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thankfully, my line manager, Tracita, and the rest of the team, she helped me, you know what I mean? The best way she can. Obviously, in the job I was at, it wasn't the best, you know what I mean? There's a lot of politics going on. But having people you can relate to, it makes all of that sort of stuff. And people that are around the same age, that helps as well, man. So I think, again, if it's any advice anyone can take from this, don't make that jump until you have to make the jump.
I was just going to say, how did you make the transition?
Yeah, so literally there was a few opportunities with the brand, with Puma, to go to Paris, and it was a situation where work said, we can't give you off. It's Paris, it's Puma, it's the Olympics.
You don't say no.
You know what I'm saying? And I was also working with a second opportunity, the Black British Golfers, another company, organisation who probably birthed off the back of 2020. They were doing some work to try and get more black people into golf. And that was at the Balfour in just Staffordshire, just outside Birmingham. Again, it's a situation of where I couldn't really miss out on an opportunity.
No.
So luckily enough, I was given a freelance opportunity, which I now do alongside Black-centric UK. So yeah, I had to make that jump, but my advice is don't make that jump until you really have to, until you've got things aligned and until you feel within yourself it's time, because it's no joke.
No, it really isn't. And this is the life and times and kind of like the adventure of being an entrepreneur, isn't it?
Absolutely, you know what I mean? I fed into this. I'm still learning as days go on.
Yeah.
I think it's important to refresh your knowledge and, take accountability where you can in things that have gone well, and take accountability when things may not go well. But I think, again, if this is any advice, it's all about organisation. It's all about time management as well. Because, when things do blossom, people will call you, people will ring your phone whenever. So, yeah, it's just about having that level of organisation and timing.
Yeah, fantastic. So kind of just to round out the conversation, what are the future plans and goals for Black-centric UK?
Good question. So, the future plans, from what I can say with Black-centric UK, is just more so making it more of a well-rounded media organisation, touching on the topics like research papers on the topics within the Black community, ensuring Black women feel they have a voice and it's heard, as well as doing more work within charities, more grassroots work, like I said, around sickle cell, in conversations regularly with Janika, who I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, forgive me, Janika, is the president of the European Sickle Cell Society. Again, it's having those sensitive conversations around Black women's maternal health. It's about having those conversations about how we can ensure more Black boys and girls understand there's more to life than just music and sports. So there's a lot, really. It's a lot, but again, Rome wasn't built in a day. There's a lot to kind of dig and a lot to structure before the wheels can really move forward in the right momentum. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell what it is. But yeah, there's a lot of people I'd like to thank. I'm not going to sit here and name them all because I'll probably
your tribe, yeah.
your tribe, the people, the tribe. Yeah, there's a lot of people I want to thank still, and they know who they are. You know what I'm saying, and if they don't, then you appreciate it. So yeah, man.
Oh, that's fantastic. And personally, for me, as somebody who, when I'm scrolling and Black Things UK comes up on my timeline, it's kind of like the antidote to all of the other mess that's out there, and it's like a timeline cleanse, and it is educational, and it does kind of bring you into the culture and keep you, what's happening, so just for that, thank you for creating the platform. Honestly, no, it's amazing. So before I let you go and return back to Birmingham, can you, I'd like to round up with values, so can you tell me a value that you hold for your professional life and one for your personal life? So we'll start with professional.
Manners, really.
Manners,
it's from a Caribbean background. Manners, respect.
Yeah.
Even when people do your editing, you have to kind of hold it down and remain respectful. And one thing my mom has always said to me is anything you do now will impact you in your future. even down to kind of interacting with the bush drivers.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm saying, and interacting with members of the public, or, you know, people within law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? And it's interacting with them. So professionally, it's probably manners, and also remembering that the industry's small.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everyone. You know what I mean? So it's trying our best to kind of put your best foot forward, really.
Yeah, definitely. And not burn bridges.
Yeah, and you try your best not to burn bridges, but
yeah,
it's business. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, exactly that. And for your personal life?
Personal, good question, you know. That is a very good question. I think probably just trying to treat people the way you would like to be treated, really. Obviously, you can't always do that. But yeah, probably treat people the way you want to be treated, and try and probably help people the way you can. If you know somebody would benefit from you, just checking on them, or just messaging them, just again checking, messaging them how they are, or try and connect into the dots where you can. So for me, I know I will always try and put somebody in contact with someone if I can. If I feel the connection is there, I can trust the person.
Yeah.
I will always try and do it. But again, it's not easy. So again, I do apologize if I think about my message me back or anything like that. It's a lot.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
No, definitely.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
You should be proud of yourself, man.
Thank you.
You built something again off, you know, like you said, your desire, and fire, really. So
yeah, both of us, and I want to see where everything goes for you, and as you grow and take the platform as far as it can go.
Thank you, and thank you to the team, Black-centric UK, behind the scenes there. So yeah,
amazing.
And all the people that we work with, cameramen, presenters, and thank you.
So where can people find you and Black Things UK?
Yeah, Black Things UK. Obviously, it's the all one handle, so Black Things UK. Personally, Nyle Mcintosh, so NYLE Mcintosh MCINTOSH. On LinkedIn, Instagram, November Yankee 1E. So instead of the L, it's a 1.
Yep.
So yeah, man, that's how you can find me on Instagram. I don't have no TikTok.
Thank you guys for joining us, and if you want to follow the Black Circle, we are on YouTube on Black Circle Podcast, and we're on Spotify, Black Circle Podcast, and Instagram, blackcircle.podcast. Thank you.